Roy Bellamy, Cote and Jeremy Tache with you here. We are a day after the Florida Panthers defeated the Carolina Hurricanes, game one in quadruple overtime. Thanks to Tkachuk. That game ended at 2 a.m. I slept in my hockey jersey, my Panthers jersey that I wore to the studio yesterday.
Fully nude under the jersey, right? Just the jersey is how
it's just the jersey.
Yeah, Winnie the Pooh, everybody. Yeah, exactly. Went that way under the covers. Boys?
Roy, we should be tired right now, but I'm not tired because of one of the most epic games in Panther history. My wife was asleep. She went to sleep. She had to work today, so she went to bed. I had to be quiet. It was so intense. Everyone was so tired. It's so amazing. The broadcasters, like Biz and all them during the break, the fans were sleeping. Just imagine the players. Like, think how tired, Jeremy, you were during that game. Now imagine being Brandon Montour.
I was so tired during that game that I fell asleep at points during that game and woke back up during that game. Like I was just doing because it was the longest game I've ever experienced of certainly a playoff hockey. It was unbelievable. I mean, the idea that Brandon Montour was actually physically on the ice for a full hour of ice time, like it was insane. And it was so funny because like from, obviously for me, I'm looking at it from the Bally side as well. And like for Bally, they didn't go on air until afterward. It's just a post-game show. And Katie Engelson, the sideline reporter for the Panthers, is at this watch party in Fort Lauderdale that's going into all hours of the morning. And what's crazy is fans were sticking around. Like it was crazy at that watch party. This was one of the most unbelievable things I've experienced in South Florida sports.
Talking about the Tkachuk goal, this is similar to the Verhaeghe goal in Game 7 of the Boston series, except this was on the near side boards. They won a puck battle. It was Sam Bennett again. He was able to feed Matthew Tkachuk, who skated out towards the slot and just threw the puck on net. Boom. Game winner.
And I noted in that whole game, Roy, I was saying, like, because I know you've been talking about Carolina's defense, and you could see it. It was tough for us to generate any kind of control in the zone. The best strategy for us was what's been working for us the entire playoffs: dump the puck behind the net and just go to work. And that's how, and like you said, that's how they got this goal. All of our goals seem to start from behind the net. Somebody gains possession behind their net, makes a pass, or skates around, but they all start with this forecheck. It's hilarious that you've been talking about the forecheck for decades around here, but it's literally the bread and butter for this team.
Well, not only is that go ahead, Roy.
And even that barely worked. I mean, that's how stifling the Hurricanes defense was all game. It only took 4 overtimes for everybody to get tired for that to actually work the thump and chase.
Right. That kind of feels like all it was. It's just eventually they were so dominant, but eventually they just got tired. So there had to be sort of cracks where the Panthers could fit in. And it was only with seconds left in the 4th overtime. That easily could have gone to 5 overtimes and beyond. But like, I don't think we can go any further without talking about Bob. Sergei Bobrovsky had 63 saves. 63 saves. I mean,
it's a little bit of a cheat code. People are like taking that number and running with it. We played 4 overtime.
Yeah,
so
but
like,
he had to make
I don't want to take away, but right.
Even more.
You could take away and say like, look, obviously that's
do
compiling.
it in 3 periods. Have 63 saves in 3 periods.
All right, cool.
Me.
Yeah,
I'm kidding. I'm
Dominic Hasek did that.
Bob's amazing.
Yeah, I just can't believe that this guy who, for not just this season, but for like multiple years here with Florida, has had this crazy sort of up and down, and for that matter, he would admit a lot of down in his Florida Panthers tenure, to now be playing, for a guy who's already had one of the craziest postseason runs for a goalie, like to be playing some of the best hockey of his entire career, like as they're taking down all these monsters over and over again. And considering you now just like stole home ice, and not that that's been a huge thing. Like I believe the Panthers now are riding a 7-game road win streak, which is insane. Yeah. Like all of this, just none of it makes any sense. And we keep doing that with the Heat, where we're like, how do they keep doing this? I feel the same way about the Panthers, where it's like, how do they keep doing this in this way?
I almost prefer to start playoff series on the road. It's like if you lose, you kind of feel like the pressure's on them.
Choice in the matter.
It's a great point.
Wayne Gretzky, Wayno, as Biz was calling him, was saying the entire game of like, once we got into more overtimes, the pressure's all on Carolina here.
Yep.
It's like if the Panthers win, it's just a great bonus win. And if Carolina loses, they're feeling like, holy shit, we lost one here. And it's just like I was feeling at ease almost the entire time because I was like, even if we lose this, it's a road game. So it's like there's just like it's like a stress-free feeling of starting on the road.
Yeah, I would rather start on the road 5-on-5, no penalties at all each way. That's why I am right now at this point. But I want to talk about the goal that was overturned in the first overtime.
Oh my God!
Colin Wright, who was pushed into the crease, into Freddie Anderson. He was pushed into the crease, right, by the defenseman.
Seemed to make an effort to like get out.
He tried to get out. Yeah. He tried to get out. He tried to get out of the crease. Made incidental content. Goal was overturned. Technically, this game should have ended 2 hours before it actually ended in the first overtime. But hey, what are you gonna do?
And the group chats were flying. We were like celebrating. Like it felt like a good 30 to 40 seconds before we realized, oh wait, they're reviewing this.
It was. I've never seen such a long wait in between. It's like when a ref sort of waits, like in basketball, when a ref waits to see if a layup goes in before calling a foul. Except it just felt like an eternity. Like the Panthers were celebrating. Everybody on Twitter was celebrating. I had said a whole long thing where it's like, yeah, it's over 5-0 in overtime. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, whoops. Yeah. It's really crazy to think that game could have been over as early as it was, and that it was a judgment call. Like, thank goodness that ends up going the way it does, and the Panthers do win, so that it's just it should have been over a couple hours earlier, as opposed to, the Panthers basically playing this in protest.
It was a judgment call from the guys in Toronto. That's where the replay,
of course, it is.
Toronto, interesting.
Toronto, yeah.
Dude, how about Lomberg, though? How about that fourth line? I mean, Lomberg coming back into the lineup. It was a little, the group texts were kind of like, we're messing with chemistry here. We've been winning without him. But I was saying before Lomberg even got that goal that was some of the best energy. The Barkov for Hagee line was great yesterday. But arguably until Tkachuk scored, I was making the argument for that fourth line being as good a line yesterday for us. Anytime Lomberg, like they were talking in the intermission reports, Lomberg had the most energy late in that game. Like, he was flying around the ice when everybody was dead. And I'm glad to have Lomberg back. This team is so much fun. And I am just like, we could do a repeat just saying these words of, this is fun.
Yeah. No, that was not fun. That was not
I loved it, dude.
Torture.
I'm trying to be in the moment in these games. Like in the Heat game a couple nights ago, last night, I'm just kind of like doing like, hey guys, this is really cool what we're experiencing. Like, even if we lose, like there needs to be a small piece of the pie chart that win or lose, we're just enjoying this.
Well, and there's this crazy part with both of these teams. Like, Dan made fun of me the other day when I said that Kevin Love brought this level of chemistry to this team that made them really love each other, and that matters as they go into the postseason. But it clearly has. Like, it just absolutely, it's a fact. It has. But with the Panthers, it's the same thing. Like, this Panthers team is in this mode where they absolutely love each other from the top of the roster down to the last guy who plays. And Lomberg was like a perfect example of coming back in, providing energy, and that in a moment where, literally there's not a game where you could need more energy. His energy really helped buoy this team in moments where, you're right, that fourth line was really kind of doing a lot to kind of keep them in this game and bring that level of excitement to it.
Yeah, it kind of helped because they had the least minutes of everybody who's played out there. So,
like, the fourth line guys are going to get more of a go, but they made the most of it. It wasn't like they were just like, we're out here, holy shit, we're not prepared for this. They were like, we're out here. Anytime that fourth line got on the ice, I was saying to my friend, I'm like, this line is going to get this goal. That's why when Lomberg got that goal, I had been saying the entire game, I'm like, it was a victory lap for me. I was like, this fourth line has been fantastic. And then he got the goal, and then it got taken away, and he bit the stick. God, I love Lomberg. But I'm telling you, even the crew, I love the TNT hockey crew. That's why
don't get me started on Biz.
I love like the intermissions with those, but even they felt the Panthers were going to win. When the first overtime came, they're like, who scores the goal? I believe there's 5 guys at that table, and they picked 4 Panthers. So it's like everybody
didn't pick the Panthers.
Biz?
It was
He's been he picked a stall.
Right.
Oh, okay.
He picked a stall. But Paul Bissonnette, though, has been anti-Panthers the entire playoffs.
He's just a Maple Leafs fan. He has given them their flowers.
The entire playoffs, though. Of course, Boston, greatest regular season team in the history of the NHL. Of course he's going to pick them. Toronto, the entire series, because he's a Maple Leafs fan, sounds like me.
Going back to what you were talking about before, also of playing these games on the road, like that's the other part where, and again, this is actually something that Dan mentioned on the show, I think in the Thursday local hour, where it was like Heat fans haven't had to be scared. It's sort of the same, and obviously the Panthers were down 3-1. That's different. But like in playing where you've now won so many road games, and particularly these road game ones, it's like that immediately provides such a crazy amount of relief to the series, because you go into game 2 and it's like, all right, cool. If you win, awesome. But if you lose game 2, there's no pressure. Like these next couple of nights, tonight's Heat
there's
game.
There's no pressure till game 4. We could lose if we lose to next game, we're like, it's all right, 1-1, going home with a split. And then even if we lose game 3, it's like we got game 4 to tie it up. Like,
and these teams have been so good on the road.
Yeah, it's just
and in overtime, because that's their 5th win.
Well, that's what's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, you're feeling so much confidence going into overtime, like, oh, these guys are going to win. Like, just based off of past history, like, oh, boy. But I that was not fun last night. I'm sorry.
I enjoyed it, man. That's why I have the perspective of last night. I was kind of saying to people, like, even if the Lomberg goal gets taken away, even if we lose this game, this is how the playoffs are supposed to work. You're supposed to lose on the road game 1. Like, we're just so spoiled right now with grabbing these games, getting these 50-50 games where it's like I was prepared last night to just be like, guys, we're down 1-0. This is how this is supposed to work. Like, I was going to be cool with it just because, like, we're due to have one series where we're down a little bit. Like, this is not how this is supposed to work. It's amazing. We have that je ne sais quoi right now of – we're going to get – I don't even know if I used that right.
I love that you use that. The Panthers, je ne sais quoi.
At least you tried.
There's just something about this team right now combined with the hot goalie. Like, we are just that team right now. It is going to be hard for – like, everybody is buying in. Gretzky, after the game, he's just like, this team's got the hot goalie. They're one unit. They're cohesive. When their defensemen go up, they're off. You saw it when they were breaking down that one intermission. Like, we are a unit right now. Our guys just don't even have to look at each other. It's like, oh, I'm covering for you. It's positionless hockey almost at times.
Yeah, you saw the defenseman pinching in.
Yeah,
on some of those plays. I mean,
love a good pinching in. Love a good
Mark Stahl pinching in on plays with his cement skates.
And then there was one. Which Stahl is number 18?
That would be Mark Stahl.
Yeah. He at one point he took a slap shot to the shin, and then they show him on the. This must have been third overtime, and then they just show a cut of him on the bench right after that, like nestling up against one of his teammates, because he was just like, "Oh, that hurts so much."
Yeah,
but that's the level of love there, man. I love it.
I was worried about that one because he's already cement skated. Yeah. To have something like that happen to his legs, not going to help.
What do we think Maurice thought of that cross-check call on Aaron Ekblad? What do we think of that?
I mean, you saw his reaction after the first period when he walked off, when he walked off the ice yelling at the officials. Like, is that all night?
I saw some offensive things being mouthed. Like, let's be glad that those were not said out loud on a microphone.
Paul Maurice deserves his flowers too, though, man. He has turned this team. It's so funny. Like,
we flipped more on Bob. I was about to say, I know. I mean, don't even get me started on Witty. We asked him to be here today. Where is he? He's got a thing.
Coward.
Who have we flipped more on, Bob or Maurice? It's like 4 months ago. If I said to you, in 4 months, we are going to absolutely love Bobrovsky and Maurice, you would have told me I was crazy. But which one of those would you have said is more crazy?
Maurice, I think, because of the amount of points in the standings the Panthers got compared to this year, despite the fact that Bob, who's making a lot of money, hasn't performed up to that contract up until now.
Now he has. Like, we could even if we lose the rest of the way, he has done enough.
Earned every dime. Earned every dime.
Yeah, we could stop that talk. He's earned every bit of that money.
We were singing Lion King like 3 weeks ago.
It's crazy.
Like I was like every day, not even. Like, it was just like, well, look where we are.
How does Alex Lyon feel about this?
Dude, he loves it.
I'm sure he's excited. I mean, he's playing his old team. He's up 1-0 right now after 4 overtimes. He was probably ready to go.
And he didn't have to play.
Happened.
I was imagining if just randomly before last game, Maurice comes in hour before the
Face off.
hour before face off. Lion, you're starting tonight. You would have just been like, no, I'm not. Bob's like, you know what I mean? Imagine that like being put online. He'd be like, what are you doing? No,
why are you doing this to me?
I
wouldn't be surprised if he does that for game 2.
Really?
Just
They
given
played-
given quadruple overtime, that makes sense.
They played 7 in the third period.
No, so that's
They played 2 in the third games last night.
Roy, you have more experience with this of just following playoff hockey. I get from a conditioning and energy level standpoint, it makes sense to give him a day off, but they can't actually do that, right?
They can. They absolutely
Really?
can. Bob has played every game since early in the Boston series, so they absolutely can, especially coming off of 7 periods of hockey. Come on, man.
know.
They got a day off. One day off.
That was hilarious when the broadcasters were like, oh, game 2 is tomorrow. Because it was like,
God.
it was
past midnight.
It was 2 a.m., so we were in Friday. So it's like, we'll see you tomorrow for game 2.
And we'll see you tomorrow night.
And in less than 12 hours, we have Miami Heat basketball.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Oh.
Yeah.
And let's get you ready for that with David Sampson and Adnan Anver.